How you guys doing today? Today, I want to talk about if, in my personal opinion, should I file bankruptcy to fix my credit? So stay tuned. My name is Jay, and welcome to Ask a Debt Collector, a subsidiary of Clear and Strategic. Now, I've been in the debt collection industry for over 15 years. I've done it all, from management to owning 2 debt collection agencies. For the past 10 years, I've been the go-to guy for friends and family for questions regarding debt and credit, and now I want to be that person for you. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. For those of you who are new to this channel, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's go. Now, before I get into this topic, there's something I want to share with you guys, each and every one of you guys. Just about opportunities and investing in yourself, right? And 95% of the stories that I tell you guys here on this channel, I like to relate to myself. Obviously, there are situations and circumstances with clients that I've had that I could explain to you guys, but I want to explain more things that happen to myself. Now, there's this one story. Once the pandemic hit, obviously I owned a debt collection agency still at that time span. And I was trying to get out of that, the debt collection agency in general, not because at the time, this is before the pandemic hit, the pandemic just sort of kind of helped solidify me to get out of the debt collection business in general, but I just always felt a little guilty with regards to how we collected. But nevertheless, I say that to say this. In the beginning, when the pandemic hit at the time, I wasn't going to start a credit repair company. I didn't necessarily think that. I thought, maybe later down the road, about a year or so, I would do it. And the reason why I didn't want to do that is because I figured people didn't have money. Now, as far as the YouTube page goes, right, at that time span, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a YouTube page, and I want to talk about credit and debt and give people information out there. Because one of the things you find out with talking to friends and family is people just do not have the education with regards to credit and debt. And there was a time I didn't have the education, and I learned from friends as well, just like you guys, YouTube, as well as studying and so forth, paying for courses and whatnot. Now, I did not start my YouTube page till 2021. And I say that to say this. In 2020, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to talk about this type of stuff because I don't think people are going to be at home and want to talk about it. I mean, watch these videos, and I thought it would be a waste of time. One of the things that I missed on that opportunity just because of what was going on, I learned that majority of a lot of people that I was following on YouTube when it came to finances and credit and so forth, grew the largest during that time span, especially in the year 2020. A lot of people went from, 0 followers to, 10, 20, 30,000 followers. And I didn't pay attention, but one of the things that happened is once that pandemic hit, which is something that a lot of us have never dealt with, a lot of people were at home, and a lot of people were, in fact, looking on YouTube and watching videos and so forth because they were uncertain what was going to happen as far as the economy went, right? We were worried about where the next dollar was going to come from, a lot of people and so forth. We had stimulus checks coming, a lot of people holding on to that money because we just didn't know what the future held. Now, I say that to say this. Now we're dealing with a possible War 3 is what people are talking about. We're dealing with inflation, right? Price of gas, as we can see across the board, has gone up. Price of, everyday commodities have gone up, food and all of that type of stuff. And so what happens is when things get a little nervous, what we do as consumers as a whole, not everyone, is we want to hold on to our money. And we get scared and we don't want to spend or anything along those lines. I'm going to tell you this right now. Taxes is coming up. A lot of you guys have received your taxes. A lot of you guys are in order to receive your taxes. The best advice I can give you, I don't care if you invest with me. You don't necessarily have to invest with me. But it's very key that you get your credit right first before starting a business, before obviously buying a home, applying for a car, applying for a credit card, all those types of things. You have to invest in yourself. And that's either getting a DIY credit repair packet and cleaning up your credit or hiring a professional. Again, I would love for you to hire us and click the link down below for the 20-minute free consultation to see what we can do to help you out. But if you don't decide to go with me, go with someone. Get your credit in order. With your credit in order and building credit and getting education about credit, when situations like this happen, if an emergency pops up or you want to get the best interest rates, your credit is good. You're in the 750 FICO score, and now you know what to do in that aspect if you need to borrow money. I would rather have my credit right than have a bunch of cash. And the reason why is this one simple situation. You spend up all your cash, and let's say you got to borrow money. You could be declined. Sometimes banks don't even care the mere fact that you got money in the bank account when you're trying to apply for credit if your credit is messed up. Because your credit is basically your report card to life, so it's very, very key that you do set that up. Now, I'm sorry, I know it's been, 5 minutes or 35 seconds where I talked about that. I just had to set that up for you. If you want a free consultation down below, if you want a DIY credit repair packet, I have even some free letters. Check that stuff out below. Now, I can tell you about 2 clients that I had that were looking at filing bankruptcy, but I'm not. I'm going to talk about myself. There was a time where I was in a lot of debt, a little over $25,000 worth of debt, and I could not pay it. Now, all of this debt, and its key, was in collections. So I had collection agencies calling me and so forth to try and pay the debt that was owed. I thought at one point, about 5 years ago, about filing bankruptcy, right? It just seems easy. You pay $1,000 to $2,000 to a judge, to an attorney. He goes before the courts. You get a bankruptcy. Boom, creditors stop calling you. Everything's taken care of and you don't have any problems. I'm so happy I didn't do that because of what comes with the bankruptcy. I decided to fix my own credit. And at the time, I couldn't afford to pay for a professional. So I thought, if you can afford to pay $1,500 to an attorney, you can afford to pay a professional to repair your credit. But I ended up doing it on my own. And yes, it took me a lot longer than if I would have just hired a professional to do it. But nevertheless, this is why I believe you should not file bankruptcy to fix your credit. A lot of that information, when you file a bankruptcy, obviously, as we know, it will stay on your record for 7 years, right? A Chapter 7 bankruptcy is what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about specifically with regards to that. In the first couple of years, it becomes very hard to apply for anything. Yes, after about 3 years, you can apply for a home, you can apply for stuff, and you get a reset. Now, when you go to a credit repair agency and you get your credit repaired, typically it can take about 6 months to a year to clean up your credit, depending on how bad or what your circumstance and your situation is. Now, if with an investment of $600 to clean up your credit versus a bankruptcy, which is something, if you're applying for a home or anything along those lines, they ask those types of questions, you're a lot better off having your credit cleaned up, whether you do it on yourself or by a professional on your own versus filing bankruptcy. The number one reason why is because of inaccuracies on your credit report. There are a lot of inaccuracies on your credit report that, as a professional, or if you're disputing it on your own and you're sending the correct letters and so forth, that can help you out, right? Let's even talk about one client that I had. I had a client who was in the 500 FICO score, was looking at possibly filing bankruptcy. Things were sort of kind of tough. All of the debt that they had was in collections. And I keep saying that, and I'll tell you why at the end it's important to understand your debt being in collections. Now, what ended up happening is in 30 days, I disputed 6 accounts that they had that they owed a little over 17 grand. All of that stuff was deleted. Now, they did have some credit established, so they went from a 535 to 730 FICO score at that time span in 30 days, right? And so that could be your situation with regards to the circumstance, depending on what type of accounts you have in your credit profile makeup, right? And so when a lot of times when cleaning up someone's credit, which is what we do, we clean up your credit and then educate you on the credit side, then it helps you out with regards to a lot of stuff, right? When you file a bankruptcy and you go to an attorney and they just alleviate you of all the debt, what do you learn during that time span? Well, you learn that if you pay $1,200 or $2,000, depending on how much money that you owed, that you can get out of the debt. But do you get any education with regards to how to build credit and what to do from there? Chances are you don't, unless you go seek professional help. When you're getting your credit repaired, if you're dealing and vetting your credit repair agency, make sure not only are they just getting rid of derogatory accounts and deleting accounts off of your credit profile, but that they're educating you and giving you education to learn on how to build the credit, because that's going to take you a lot longer and a lot further. Yes, when you file bankruptcy within 3 years or so, they'll allow you to apply for credit cards and get stuff, secure credit cards and so forth with regards to building your credit. And the main reason why is because you can't, if you get in trouble again, you can't file another bankruptcy, I believe, for about 10 years. Now, it depends on what state you're in or whatnot. So creditors know that, hey, well, yep, this person filed bankruptcy. Now they're going to get a credit card. Chances are they don't have any knowledge with regards to how to use credit cards or anything along those lines. And so chances are they're going to max up those credit cards again. And we're going to get a lot of interest and payments with regards to the credit card. And then eventually they might mess up again. So personally, I would not file bankruptcy first. Now, there is a case in which I would look at filing bankruptcy. And those are for those of you out there who have credit card debt that has not been sent to collection. So your utilization is probably at 90%. You owe $30,000, $40,000 in credit cards. And before exhausting all efforts, and typically if your credit cards are maxed out, depending on your finances and so forth, it'll be hard to get a consolidation loan to get a lower interest rate to pay all your debt off. Why? Because your credit's messed up in the first place. And if you do have a large amount of debt that you cannot actually pay off, and you don't know what to do, and this debt is still with the creditors, filing bankruptcy could be a better situation. But there are other options with regards to doing stuff to help you out with regards to that. Because once you get that bankruptcy on your record, it's almost like a flag against you. Now, understand, everything that I'm telling you is just my opinion. And my opinion of being in the debt collection industry as well as the credit repair industry now. And so some of you guys will have different say-so with regards to that. If you file bankruptcy, and it worked out, put it down in the comment section. If you were looking at filing bankruptcy and you decided to either try and repair your credit on your own or you hired a professional, put that down in the comment section. I want to hear some of the stories and more of the stories. Personally, I would say try to avoid bankruptcy at all costs. Do whatever else that you can do with regards to getting it taken care of. And obviously bankruptcy is a last resort, and that's in a situation where you just simply don't have money to pay anything at all, and a judge can look at your information and possibly look at bankruptcy. So for those of you who did file bankruptcy, I'm not looking at you bad or anything along those lines, because everyone's situation is different. But my advice to you is to first exhaust all other efforts before filing bankruptcy, because during that process, you'll learn a lot with trying to fix your credit and so forth. You'll learn a lot as far as what is on your credit, how to negotiate with creditors and debt collection companies and so forth. You'll learn so much more than just filing bankruptcy and it being done and everything poof disappears. You don't learn anything. Chances are you'll be back in the same predicament. Now, if you have any questions about credit or debt, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. Secondly, I've had a few people ask me with regards to donating. So if you feel like to this channel, I set up a PayPal donation just strictly for this channel. Obviously, it costs to maintain this channel and to make things a lot better where I can have slides and so forth. It's going to cost money to do that. I've had a few people who I gave great information to, and they asked me, okay, hey, can I donate? Down in the description, there is a way where you can donate. You can send whatever is put on your heart to do so. And if you don't feel like donating, no pressure. There is no obligation to do so, but it will help the channel if, in fact, you do so. Put your questions down in the comment section. I'll answer them. And as I always state, you be great.